All right, what's going on, guys? As promised, we are back again, and we are going to be consistent today. And we're going to post another YouTube video. But anyways, before we get going for this upper day today, I was going to walk you guys through a few things. Also, I wanted to show some stuff off very quickly because I never get a chance to do this shit. But I'm going to show you off first. I'm going to show off first, okay? First of all, I haven't posted this anywhere, so you guys are the first to see it. Shiny Charmander PSA 10. Now, the reason I got this card and wasted my money on this, which, you know, in retrospect, it isn't a waste because I love it, but I got this card because those that might know, okay, I posted this on my story a really long time ago on Instagram, but when I was a kid, I was trying to reset my Fire Red Leaf Green game so many times. I did it like hundreds of times trying to get a Charmander. I sat there for like multiple days doing it over and over, and I never ever got it. And it was so sad. So one day I load up my computer. I'm going to play just a ROM because I'm, it's having a break between work, so I'm trying to just do something to pass the time. And I load up this Fire Red ROM. First try, starting a new game, shiny Charmander. And it pissed me off, but also was awesome. So I figured, why not? I got a card for it too. So, but yeah, and then this other guy who was selling the cards, he actually got it for really cheap. He was just trying to get rid of stuff. I think he really needed money because I got this, I think, $50 lower than what's listed online. So I'll take that. But he also threw in these two cards as well. Ella really liked them. So this one's Lugia. This one's obviously Tyranitar, but they're not graded. So they just look cool. And Ella wanted them. Okay, but either way, now that we're done showing off, before we go to the gym, I wanted to touch on two things. The first thing, which I will be talking more and more about with more videos that we pull up, but all this pre-workout, everyone's always asking, what is it? It is my girlfriend's company, TheXhemist, and I am an affiliate member, okay? Technically, athlete, but I'm just calling myself an affiliate. So I take this every session, every single session. I have no reason to use any other pre-workout, mainly because it is really well formulated, but also there's so many of them. Why would I ever? So like, I'm never going to buy another pre-workout, I'm going to be honest. But we are trying to get through this last round of stock, and then we are going to make room for creatine. We've had a lot of people asking for creatine. We're trying to make a really, really good creatine with a good flavor. We'll drop that pretty soon. But yeah, that's a thing. So for all those people who are constantly asking, you can use code JACKED. It's in the link in my bio. 10% off. It's a really high quality pre-workout. It's honestly pretty cheap considering how much more expensive pre-workouts have become. So yeah, we're still a pretty lean margin business, still small. And we did just bring on one more affiliate, which is the Jimmy Pushdown guy. Yeah, we brought Jimmy Pushdown on. So he's another affiliate. But anyways, now that we're done marketing, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the discourse in science-based lifting, because that's kind of what this account is about anyway. So there's been some conversations about the preacher curl and Bayesian curl. And there was another study that I think just dropped on the differences between a Bayesian curl and a recline curl, or essentially they were doing a Bayesian curl like this, right? One group was like doing this, another group was doing this, which essentially is it's a recline versus a Bayesian. And again, lo and behold, they found no significant differences. But there are going to be people, I know, there's going to be people out there who see non-significant changes in data and are going to assume that those changes are the result of the variable being tested, which is the difference between those curls. And I'm going to reiterate for the millionth time, you guys need to take a course in statistics before you start trying to interpret statistics. It drives me and everyone else insane. It is so stupid how people jump to conclusions. What you need to remember about statistics, specifically in regards to significance, is that significance is what gives us confidence to determine that the thing that occurred, the numerical expression that is occurring, is the result of what we are testing and not the result of something else. Because let's say we have one person coming in and they have a higher proportion of type 2 fibers in their bicep, very slightly, but higher proportion. And let's say they do the exact same regimen. They might have a bigger bicep by the end of it than the other person because they have larger muscle fibers that when they actually, experience hypertrophy, they grow ever so slightly more. And because like remember, type 2 fibers are larger than type 1 fibers. So if you have more type 2 fibers, you're going to have more overall size increasing, right? And the problem is, the differences in this paper were like, I think 5 millimeters. 5 millimeters, yeah. Very, 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 very tiny difference. This is like the issue that comes with every paper. And it's the reason statistical significance is very, very important, because when we are trying to distinguish differences between things, we need to be confident in our ability to say this is like better in this context. Because obviously, you know, there's no such thing as the best exercise. There's good exercises, there's great exercises, and every exercise has context for when it potentially is going to be implemented in a program. So the problem with this like whole debate is even with the Bayesian curl, even with the recline curl, with the preacher curl, none of it seems to make that large of a difference on the elbow flexor for the bicep specifically. It does seem to like potentially differentially bias different other elbow flexors like the brachialis, but the thing is, we still have pretty much the same bicep growth in every single curl, which again I think points towards the whole like, oh, neuromechanical matching shows us which exercises are what resistance profiles, what range of motion to use for certain exercises, how to bias certain things. I think it's further evidence against it, because again, we still see like, we would not be seeing the same growth in the biceps if we're constantly changing the shoulder position like this, right? Because going from like a preacher curl here to all the way back here and seeing basically no difference, and then coming here and still seeing no difference, I mean, we're changing leverages from the shoulder position. And even with like the length, if you want to argue like, oh, this, it's still like counter evidence against length tension relationship, not really, because it like, if we look at like the length of the biceps, when we change the shoulder position, it's not as similar. It's not the same as like, let's say I flex the elbow, right? Flexing the shoulder for the bicep does not change the bicep length the same way flexing the elbow does. So it's not a linear like 1-to-1 difference in length change. So I to be completely honest, right? You can't even stretch the bicep even if you wanted to, but like the biceps only can lengthen so much, right? So if you really look at like the length tension relationship with these different exercises, they're not that different. Even like the Bayesian curl versus the preacher curl, there was a study and they compared like with, to be fair, it was a model. It wasn't actually like a human's like specific length tension relationship. It was just a textbook model. But the difference between the Bayesian and the preacher curl was so tiny, so tiny. So it's one of those things where I just think science-based lifting, the crowd tends to hyperfixate on the most minimal details that do not lead anywhere. It leads actually it does lead somewhere. It leads to like people being confused. And I think that's a really big issue with this niche, is that everyone is always confused all the time, right? And to be perfectly honest, it's the reason why I've kind of moved away from like making as much science-based lifting content as I have, because I already know the stigma of being involved in the niche, right? Like people, it's a literal trend to hate on anyone who's science-based because of how like dogmatic some people have been. So it's kind of discouraging, but again, my username is scientifically Jack, so I have to fucking, you know, I kind of have to make content on it. I can't just change my username, right? So anyways, I think it's an exhausting back and forth with pretty much the same arguments every other few months, maybe every year something recycles. It's just a never-ending cycle of trying to remind people how to actually interpret research. So do us all a favor. If you don't know how to interpret research, stop acting like you do. Stop going into papers and drawing conclusions and making videos, because if you don't know what you are talking about, you're spreading misinformation 9 times out of 10. So that is my little rant, okay? Biceps are gonna grow from elbow flexion. Just don't do something like a fucking curl all the way up here, okay? Like that's stupid. Just do a preacher curl, do a Bayesian curl, do a recline curl, do a elbow supported dumbbell curl, do anything that trains the bicep at a mid to long length and you're gonna be fine. So anyways, that's my little spiel. Before I go, I'm going to tap into a fragrance, which I did bring it because I had some people asking for some recommendations. because my girlfriend has a very, very, very sensitive nose. So all of my stuff is smelled like previously by her and then it's bought. So the one I wear for the gym, this bad boy. Now, I'm not pretending to be a fragrance connoisseur, okay? I have smelled a lot of them, but I'm not like, I don't know every single name off the top of my head. Like, it's not, I'm like not that into it, but I do have a few that I do. So this is the one that I use for the gym, the one I use after I have it in my bag. I think I brought it, yeah. Brought my bag over here. So this one, it should be in my bag somewhere. A really cheap one, okay? It's from Stetson. Stetson Spirit. This bad boy here. It's almost empty. But this is actually the cheap one that I had before I like met her and before I dated her. And this is the one I was wearing and she really, really liked it. So surprise, right? And this one's like literally so cheap. It's like 20 bucks, okay? It's like, so if you want to like have a really cheap one, I wear it just post gym because it doesn't last very long. So it's like, it's good for like an hour or two. So if you want something good post gym, that way you don't smell like butt, great one to wear. Other one that I wear ever so often is YSL Le Homme. I probably butchered that, okay? Not even gonna pretend that I know how to pronounce this shit. I wear this every so often. It's not my favorite, but it is decent. It's like a decent second option if I don't feel like wearing the other one and I don't wanna like, you know, go through it all. But as you can tell, comparatively, I've had them almost the same time. I've used this one a little bit more, which I actually can't even see, but if you look closely, I've used this one a little bit more. This one's not bad. It's like come out of the shower kind of a smell, right? It's very, very clean. And then the other one that I got, I don't care if it's fucking feminine. I don't, okay? And this is actually recommended by Mundy. Mundy recommended this. We went in, Ella smelled it, and she loved it. So it works, okay? If your girlfriend likes it, who cares what other people say? The power of you. Yes, this is a beautiful fragrance. Only problem, terrible, do not wear this for the gym. You will smell way too strong. So do not, that's like going out kind of cologne, all right? Do not wear that at the gym. People will judge you. I will judge you. You need to wear things that go well in the gym. So it should not be super strong. It should be fresh or it should be kind of a clean smell. You do not want something very obviously fragrant, which is what that is. It is a very strong, I think, passion fruit, and then something else, I can't remember that. Vanilla, passion fruit and vanilla. So you will smell that, okay? But it's actually very good. So those are the ones I have right now. I have another one coming in, but as I grow the collection, I'll show you guys. I'll keep you guys in the loop because again, like the ones that I'm gonna get are probably ones that almost everyone will like just because if Ella likes it, right? If her nose is able to handle it and she doesn't hate it, and she's like one of the pickiest people known to man, right? Like remember, I've smelled over 50 plus fragrances and she's only liked 1, 2, 3, 4. Four out of like, honestly at this point, probably like closer to 60. So 4 out of 60 she's liked. So I guarantee you, your girlfriend or some other girl that you're potentially trying to woo, I don't know, bro. Like maybe she'll like it, okay? Anyways, we're gonna head to the gym now. It's enough yapping. It is, again, I think I said this at the beginning, but it's an upper day. So we're gonna get some filming in, get a good session in, and then we'll end off the video. So let's get to it.
The